Hi, this is Serena from Serena Strategy. I'm happy that you're able to join me today as I share my story with you of my lupus journey and how I have overcome lupus. And if you have not yet subscribed, it's a good time for you to do so because I am starting the Serena Strategy series looking at all the different steps that I would have taken to overcome my lupus experience. So, welcome to Serena Strategy. Today, I want to share with you this experience that I had as a Jamaican and as a healthcare provider, as a professional, but as a human, a person who was diagnosed with a chronic condition called lupus. Over 5 years ago, I was diagnosed with lupus. I started by having a lot of fatigue, brain fog, confusion, joint pains. When I wake up in the morning, my joints would hurt me so badly. I would have to wake up extra early in the morning to get my joints all warmed up so I can get myself ready to get out of the house. My job at the time required of me to go to communities and to do community intervention. I was a health promotion officer over the years, and I had a lot of outreach activities that I needed to do. It was pretty challenging. And as I transitioned to another job, I was working at that time in the HIV program as a liaison officer, going to different parishes in Jamaica, health facilities, collecting data, making sure that people who were tested positive for HIV were linked to care. And the job was a whole lot. But more than that, I was doing my master's degree in counseling and consulting psychology. It drew so much from me because it was a double major. I had 2 sets of practicum to do, the counseling part and the consulting part. And I had internship or practicum to do, and I had a research paper. So it was so difficult for me to balance all of these. And on top of that, I was also lecturing at a university. I was teaching in the psychology and bachelor's undergrad programs. So that required of you to make sure you have your material ready for teaching. My situation got so bad, I was like telling my family and friends stories that I would have told them days before because my memory had gotten so bad. The brain fog was terrible and I really wasn't doing well. And as if it wasn't bad enough, there I was experiencing symptoms of menopause. And it was really, really an overwhelming time for me. Then I started having some rash in my hair, like sores that have this blackish, bluish kind of look. And when I wash my hair, it would take like days for my scalp to become dry. And these rashes have this sappy, dark blue look, like when somebody would beat you. That's how they looked. And I remember I came one day and I told my daughter that, you guys need to look at what's happening. Something is going on right here. And my daughter said to me, she was working at the local health department at the time. She said, I'm to come and so she can let one of her colleagues see me. I said, okay, that sounds pretty good. So I went to the clinic. The doctor looked at it. She didn't say anything. She kept, she looked at it. And after asking a few other questions, she said to me, if this is what I think it is not something good. I was fearful. I panicked. I was afraid to go and see the doctor because in my mind, I was having cancer. And for me, thinking about cancer was something terrible. Nonetheless, she saw me, she looked at me and said, okay, I worked at the hospital I did my internship with a doctor, um, the rheumatologist and the skin doctor. I'm going to send you to them and they're going to do further tests on you and to see what's going on right here. I said, okay. I mean, I was afraid. She said, if this is what I think it is lupus. I didn't know what the hell lupus was, but she said, it is not good. And for me, just saying it's not good alone is something terrible. And so my emotions were so mixed up at that time. I can't even tell you what was going in my mind. So many things, so many things. I thought about dying. I thought about losing my profession. I thought about losing my whole career. I thought about losing the job. I thought about losing my family, my husband. How would he cope with me not being here any longer? My kids, my grandkids. I mean, there were so many thoughts. I felt that I would lose my independence. I felt I was going to lose my dignity. There were so many feelings going on. Anyways, they confirmed when I went to the specialist clinic that it was in fact lupus. And lupus is an autoimmune condition where the body attacks itself. And so healthy cells in my body would be attacked because my immune system would be all mixed up and doesn't know when there's something bad going on. And because of that, I constantly had pain. I could literally feel when my body is under attack. And it was triggered by stress and other factors. I really, really struggled with this diagnosis. I still continued to go to work, but then I was instructed to stay away from the sun because the sun would change my skin tone, my pigmentation of my skin would change. I was put on medication, steroids, methotrexate was one of those. My doses was like 8 on a Sunday. I would take 8 pills. That is just the methotrexate. I had the hydroxychloroquine. I had the prednisone. I had fish oil. I had all of these little things that taking any form of medication was new to me because I had no previous diagnosis. And on top of that, I was having menopausal symptoms as if it wasn't bad enough. And menopausal symptoms can be really, really horrible. Hot flashes, I want to tear my clothes off, I want to tear my wig off, I want to just be naked when I get hot, and then before you know it, I'm all cold again and having these chills and all of these feelings of frustration. And it was like a combination of the whole world and the universe falling on top of me. It got to the point where even my colleagues, my co-workers weren't even sure how they were to relate to me because my whole life changed. Serena was this lively, vibesy, happy person. Well, all of that was changing because I wasn't certain of who I am, what I needed to do, how long I would live, and all of those. It was real fear. And so I tried my best to take my pills. I started putting on the excess weight because that's what the steroids will do. I put on excess weight, and my job in Jamaica was like I worked at a hospital, and it required of me to be walking from one corner of the property to another. And so being out in the sun was really bad. My skin became so dark. My face was so dark. I looked like someone who was poisoned. And if you go back to see some of my other videos that I was doing before this video, you will see how my skin tone looked dark and poisoned because I was on my medication at that time. And then life got even worse. When you thought you could not get any worse, your life got worse. And so my family experienced some level of violence in Jamaica, and so we came to the US wanting to see how we could overcome some of these challenges that we continue to face. And it was hard. At the time I came here, I gave up my job as an executive at the hospital. I gave up a whole lot. I had my car, I had my house, I had my husband, I have my grandkids. We were all happy. We were doing great until violence struck and our lives changed. And I really looked like I was dying at that time. And I can show you a few pictures of how awful I looked at the time. My self-esteem went down. When I got to the US, I had no insurance after leaving everything behind me, my pension, everything behind me. When I got here, I had nothing. Nothing but my family, my kids, my grandkids. That's all we had. My husband was left behind. And so all of that stress compounded the situation even more. So my niece brought me to this clinic and they put me on what we call a sliding scale. So it's for persons who do not have insurance. They'll put you on the sliding scale and they assess you to see if you are employed and how much you are earning, how much income you have. And so you're put on this scale to say, okay, we'll provide you with this level of health care while you're here. And when things get better, you know, eventually will have to come off the sliding scale. Anyway, my doctor gave me my medication for 3 months and I took it. I don't know if I can tell you I was doing well. I still remained dark. My skin tone was dark, even though it was cooler here. The struggle was still real. That's it. The struggle was real. Anyways, after 3 months, the doctor informed me that she was no longer able to give me a renewed prescription. I needed to see a specialist. That was the rheumatologist. Those are the persons who will see persons with lupus, and you'll have to do your blood test and all of those things. At the time, because I didn't have any insurance, my rheumatologist was charging me for my first visit. Didn't have it. And I go home. I remember one morning getting up and I said to God, God, you're going to have to take care of me right now. You said to knock on the door shall be open, and I am here knocking on your door. I am desperate. I have no money. I have no job. I have lupus. That's all I was sure I had. And I wasn't doing well. I was having these joint pains. I was overwhelmed with stress. I was going through a whole lot of stuff. And I prayed and I said, God, you're going to have to give me another option. And the option would be help me to get treated using natural herbs and foods and just supplements. I didn't know if it was possible, but I just said that to God because I was overwhelmed. I really wasn't a very spiritual person. I was baptized at one point, but you know, sometimes you get so caught up with the world and everything that is within it. So I wasn't as spiritual as I ought to be. But at that point, sometimes God have to take you to a place where you're leaned in a corner under pressure. And the only place you can look to is look up. Because when you're from my country, when you can have a link here, somebody who knows somebody, you can get this, and somebody who can work this through for you, and you can get all of this done, you feel hopeful. But being in this country where you know nobody much, I mean, my family's here, but they could not help in the way I needed help. And so with no links, you're backed in a corner. You start learning to trust God some more. And I started looking up and I remember crying out to say, God, you're going to have to do this. And for days I would cry and I would go back to God. I would tell him all about the problem. And then when I get up from praying, I would take the problem right back from God. And it's like I needed to fix it myself because that was the type of person I was. I was accustomed to being in control and taking charge of things. But here I was humbled. I was humbled because of my situation. God put me in the place where I had to depend on him. And so I prayed. And I remember doing some research and I found this Dr. Goldner, who had experienced lupus as a child. She was a doctor and she met someone who was a fitness instructor who was blending green juices and giving to his clients. And so she started taking it. They eventually got married and all of that, but what she said was important is that when she started taking it, and after a while she went to her doctors, they did not find the lupus anymore. And she was giving, talking about getting rid of dairy products and was just having your vegetables, your green juices blended and all of that. I decided, Lord, if this is my answer, let it be. And so I started the integrative approach to healing myself. It was not easy. It was a lot of commitment. It was a lot of sacrifice. I mean, I eliminated sugar. I got rid of my greasy food, my olive fried foods. I wasn't having sweet, delicious food. Everything tasted bland. And eventually I started learning how to make it taste better and to look at some of the supplements that I needed. And so my life started changing. And so I just want to share with you this integrative approach. What I did, I am bringing to you a series on this platform. I'm presenting to you all that I did. I'm not going to be hiding anything from you. And I'm going to use my YouTube channel to inform you of the different ways you can take care of yourself to get the results that I have gotten. Because after 1.5 years of changing all my diet, when I went to my doctor, my blood test was beautiful. My examination, everything showed that my body was doing well. I don't know if I still have lupus. I don't have any symptoms. I have not had any symptoms in 1.5 years. I have not taken any medication in 1.5 years. The only things I take is supplements, vitamins, and my change of diet, my spiritual growth, my spiritual changes, my nutritional changes, my physical activities that I've done. And I have written an ebook. It's going to be on my website in another few days. It's serenastrategy.com. And there are other stuff that you will benefit from in the integrative approach. So I have something right now talking about the 12 superfoods that have helped me, and I know they will help you too. That also is on my website, serenastrategy.com. I encourage you to go and see the site. I will put things on my site that I'll be selling, like my ebook and other things that I would have experienced. But on this YouTube platform, I'm sharing everything for you free of cost. You'll get the same information. But if you want something tangible, something in your hand that you can make a reference to, you can find the ebook there. So I am going to have a series, the integrative approach series, looking at how I overcome lupus, the different aspects, the different components, the mental wellness, physical wellness, the nutritional aspect of it, the spiritual aspect of it. And I am very happy to share with you. So if you are someone who has been diagnosed with lupus, do not despair. Do not despair. I will help you to get to the point where I am, where I can celebrate, where I can say thank you, Lord, for your intervention. I can say thank you, Lord, for having directed me to the right place. Thank you, Lord, for having given me the courage and the strength to go through when I meet on crossroads that are overwhelming. And there are times when the support was not as I wanted, but thank God for family. I experienced the support that would be best for me. And so if you have not yet subscribed, I encourage you to subscribe as we go into this series of the integrative approach to healing lupus. So thank you for joining me, and make sure you hit the notification bell. That means when the first video comes out after this one, you will be the first to know. So to encourage me to continue to share with you and to continue to taking care of me and taking care of you, I encourage those who have subscribed to go and tell your families and friends, and encourage them also to subscribe to this channel, because it is going to be interesting. It's going to be impactful. is going to be helpful, and I'm sure you will benefit and you also will overcome lupus. So go and subscribe right now to my channel and let us talk more about it. So see you next in my next video pretty soon. Stay well, stay good. I'll talk with you soon. Bye.